You're live. You're live. You're live. Going live. Okay. I got both of these on the same day, so I'm doing a head-to-head sort of. But first, I had gotten, all right, to backtrack slightly, did videos about these already. I had gotten the Wolverine Boulevard boots with this kind of mini lug pattern that I like the look of it. I don't know how durable it is or whatever. You know, it's not super deep, so there's still a little bit of grip, but it's not really meant for outdoorsy use that you're going to grind through it on a trail in a hurry. But these were very long in the toe. And the shoe guy says you can't get them shortened. They'll just mess them up. I don't know if that's true or not. There might be shoe guys who are better than him. I don't know. But I was trying to get this mini lug pattern put on the other pair of boots, and he didn't have it available. So that's, get those out of the way. So that's kind of the backstory there. So I was wearing the Truman boots this morning that have obviously still a channeled side, but much more luggy. This might be more extreme than I'd want for a pair of semi-dressy boots, and also these run snug. So keep all that in mind, that when I wore these for an hour and a half or whatever this morning, my feet got used to them. Then I came back and tried on the boots that I hadn't worn since March or April or whenever it was. Okay, so side issue number 2, though, out of the way. So what happened was I had gotten, and for comparison, just because they must get mentioned, we'll also talk about the Thursday Captain boots with, of course, this outsole. It's patterned after the day-night outsole, but with a slightly different Chrome XL leather that's, I don't know how much different it is. I only know from my previous title, this is Wherein. What's the difference? I don't know. Oops. Okay. Everything's falling apart. But of course, the Thursday boots, we know these cost like $200. And I don't know if they're still going to keep offering this quality with the leather lining and the this and the that. This one, of course, is the speed hooks that I didn't necessarily want, but this one has a 3rd speed hook. So there you go. Instead of only 2. So for those of you who have been following for a while, I haven't bothered getting all the Red Wing boots because there's either a more expensive boot that I want more, or there's a less expensive boot that I think will do the job, which is kind of why I got these Wolverine ones. And I thought they fit pretty well. Like today when I put them on, they felt all loose and sloppy because, again, I had just been wearing those super tight Truman ones. But overall, they were okay. I took them out and I walked in them, I think, like once. Got a little bit of creasing in them. But mostly they had an all-leather outsole. They did not have this other sole that I'm going to show in a second. And so you can see the height of it now. There's a second layer here. There was no second layer of this. It was only this, which was the leather. So if you wear through that leather, I was pretty much convinced that you'd have to get the whole boot redone. So I decided that the thing to do was get a half sole put on, which I just got back today. Like I said, this dirt and such might be a little bit more from when I wore it previously. I wore these for about a half an hour this morning. That was about it. Because like I said, I'd tried them on before. I'd worn them before. I just wanted to see how they walked because I don't think he sanded this at all before he put it on. So I thought I was going to have a situation where the front is significantly higher than the heel. But when you put it flat, there's a little bit of a high point here, but overall it's not that noticeable that I thought it was going to be. But this is hard as a rock. Who makes this? I don't know. It's oil resistant. Sole Tech, maybe something. Sole Soul Tech. Yeah, okay. TECH. SOLET. And so he says this is a good made in America product. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know anything about it. But it's not a soft rubber. It's a stiff thing. But again, I was more worried about the leather getting a hole. Usually I like a little bit more traction if I'm going to wear a hiking boot. But again, I don't necessarily need this much traction on every boot that I'm going to use for general purpose, because this is half a city boot and I could wear it hiking, but how often will I wear it hiking? So this, fine. I thought he was going to offer me this, but he didn't have this. What he first brought out was the skin that you put on the bottom of dress shoes. And I was like, no, that won't work. That's not going to have enough traction. And said, oh, okay, I got you, bro. That kind of thing. So that's the outsole that I had done on these, and he put a few nails and glued it, and we'll see how long they last. Okay, now when I had bought these boots, again, I figured I was kind of done buying service boots because I already bought the Grant Stone boots. I already have 2 pairs of these boots. I have a couple pairs of Captain boots in a couple different colors. And I have the Oliver Cabell boots, which again, another video you can go back and watch. So yeah, I'm kind of like at my limit of this style of boot, but this was on clearance when I bought it. So it was kind of like, well, get it now or never get it. And like I said, that Boulevard one, those were on clearance too. Those were only like $100. So even if they don't fit that great, if I wear them a bit, they're fine. Okay, but so we're going to compare. Now, obviously, it's impossible to do a daily exact same thing in 2 or 3 pairs of boots, even over the course of a week. But I know I've worn these, for about a month-ish. I know I've worn these for a couple hours-ish. So these and these unboxed are basically both almost brand new. Except, again, I've modified these to probably more closely resemble these. But this is called the Briar Oil Slick. I guess that's the full name of the color. When I went to order these, it said there was a pair available in Valencia. Well, I didn't want to drive all the way to Valencia, so I thought they were going to box them up and ship them out from the Valencia store, and they'd be here like the next day or something. That didn't happen. They still come from Kalamazoo or Minnesota, rather. Not Michigan. So all I've heard about Red Wings is basically 2 things. One, they're supposedly the most durable boots kind of ever, or at least prior to the Pacific Northwest thing. And 2, the fit is, your guess is as good as mine. So I don't know how they're going to fit. And what do we have here? Oh, this is my little tag. So if I want to leave these to someone in my will or something, I guess I use this tag somehow. That came free instead of a $3 charge or whatever. Let's see, there's some writing in the box. Our legendary brands. Since 1905, Red Wing Shoe Company has been committed to the same 4 basic principles: quality, craftsmanship, durability, and comfort. This commitment is evident as every pair of purpose-built footwear we build. In every pair. Designed, built, and tested by standards that will exceed your expectations. We'll see. Whether you're a skilled craftsman on the job site or an avid hunter in the field or an adventurous hiker on the trail, Red Wing work, Irish setter, and something, can't read that. Vasky, I don't know, are brands that you can trust from Red Wing Shoe Company. I don't know what that says. Doesn't matter. Okay, well, these are Red Wing Heritage, I believe, would be the technical term. And as you can plainly see, it's very, very, very similar to what I was just holding, except different outsole. The one that the guy didn't have, like I said, yeah, more of a mini lug thing. The nailed heel, stitched through Vibram. These definitely look more narrow. Is this the same foot? No, it's the one. Okay. About the same height, a little more blatant white stitching on the welt there, but less contrast stitching on the vamp, whereas the Wolverine has the white stitching on the vamp. 3 speed hooks, 3 eyelets, 3 speed hooks, 4 eyelets. Okay, so we got an extra eyelet on the Wolverine. We have a slightly different toe shape. So the Red Wing is a little taller and pointier. So yeah, it might be a little narrow. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. Both gusseted about the same on the tongue. Oops, this is the one with the wear and tear from this speed hooks chewing up my tongue. So the Wolverine has that disadvantage. This has exactly the same kind of speed hooks with about the same kind of gusset. Slightly different material here. Okay, the Wolverine has better tongue material. This has a stain and kind of a cheap flap. So they've definitely cut a little bit of a corner there. The Heritage deal. The seam here is very pronounced. Up around there, here. I don't know. It's hidden under the lace, but it's there. It's very similar, but not as. Like I said, this is less plasticky than this, or whatever, the coating on it, the stain or whatever. But this is still your basic. I don't know, is that called a pull-up leather? I can't tell how much it's pulling up because the shine on the boot. But so yeah, I don't know how they're going to fit. The leather itself has a lot of character. So that's different instead of being a flat, shiny texture. Now, I had been told that this was different back here than the Iron Ranger to give it more of a sleek look. And it has an internal heel counter, and you can see it in there. There you go. So that's where it's different from the Iron Ranger. This one, on the other hand, has higher counter a little bit maybe. So we'll see where it rubs, how it feels, if it feels different or better. This Wolverine has a better sock liner slightly. It's a leather thing that goes farther down. This one has this tiny little heel liner. So overall, for the price, this to me seems like the cheaper boot actually so far. So yeah, Red Wing. I don't know. I watched Burroughs Anvil video from 8 months ago just the other day, and he said this is basically the same as the Iron Ranger. And if that's true, then the Iron Ranger must be a very cheap boot compared to what I've been led to believe. This one was $330. I don't remember what this one was. I have to go back and watch the video. But again, this was on clearance, so they might not be producing this anymore because they're not making any money because Red Wing is outselling them with what looks like an inferior product for a lot of the comparison so far. I'm interested, to see how this leather will do compared to that leather, I guess, or the shininess of it or whatever. But the overall boot, except for the fact that, again, they didn't put a real outsole on here, which meant you were going to grind through this and be left with a messed up boot sooner. But here we don't have a thick midsole or anything. It's a thin, but it is there. And then mostly rubber and less leather. So if you wanted to take this off and have a leather, you'd have to get somebody to put an entire leather half sole on here. You couldn't rely on this. That would wear through in about 15 minutes. But overall, I mean, it's a boot, right? How does it compare to a Thursday boot? Well, I mean, again, the leather just looks, it doesn't have that plasticky Chrome XL look or whatever. I guess a lot of people like Chrome XL because it's easy to care for, or it stays shiny for people who like shining their boots, but I think it looks cheap. I mean, I've said that from day one with these boots that, you know, they were $200. What do you want? You know. Do I dare trying this? I don't have a carpet here. Yesterday or the other day, I used a boot bag with the cowboy boot, but I do want to try and slip this on my foot without walking around in it, just to see what kind of feel I get. So let me put this down on the floor first so I don't mess it down. So you just see if it feels tight or not. A little, yeah. I bought my size on purpose to see how my size would do. And it's like every other boot, same as the Thursday boots. It's like I'm damned if you do and damned if you don't, because it's tight through here. But then if I went to a wide size, the heel would blow out too far, and then it would be sloppy in the worst place. But toe room, for as kind of how longer it looks with the toe bump, not really. If I was hiking in this, yeah, the Wolverine is longer. If I tried to go hiking in this, it would murder my feet. So yeah, I might be sending these right back because I don't know if I'm going to want to try and wear these for any extended period of time, because I think they're going to smash my foot. And I don't know, again, if I went up to a half size bigger, you get a little bit of a bump there and maybe not as too wide of a narrow back here, whereas a wide, you get a little bit of the extended out the front, but then you get way more wide. Yeah, so these are definitely long and skinny, but not long enough. Yeah, that's tough. Don't know if I'm going to keep these. Check back in a few weeks when I do another video, because I'm not going to waste more time worrying about it.